Hey, it's me. It's animated me. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and it's time for another episode of Completed It. Movie reviews, pop culture, celebrity guests, and all that good stuff. Oh, and my good friend over there, Sasha Alari, as my co-host. Hey, Satch, hit the titles, brother.
It's Monday. You know what that means. It's Marvelous Monday. Welcome everybody back to Completed It. I'm your host Andy Burrows. We're meant to have a full house today. Sash is actually back from Australia. Full disclosure, we are recording this at 11:13 a.m. on a Sunday for Marvelous Monday. And as you can see, the lazy bum is probably still in bed. But it's all good. I'm joined by the guru himself, Neil. How are you, sir? Just getting
I'm
set to
doing
record
good,
another
doing good.
Marvelous Monday, brother.
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, my man. I am excited for this one. I have literally,
Mhm.
it's still on the screen. The end credits have just rolled. I have just finished rewatching Avengers Infinity War from 2018.
What a
Before we
movie.
before we get into it, arguably we've had this debate many times on the Marvelous Mondays about our
hmm
favorite Marvel and good Marvel and bad Marvel.
hmm
Is Marvel Infinity War the greatest Marvel movie of all time?
Yes,
Why?
because every single comic book movie that you can think of has a good or a bittersweet ending, except Infinity War.
Mm.
And the fact that Marvel had the balls, the Russos, Kevin Feige, Disney, the fact that everyone involved had the balls to say, we're going to end this film here.
Mm.
Because reality, like, I'm not trying to jump ahead. This was not the original plan for the ending. So the fact that they had the balls to think about it and say, no, 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 this is where we're ending it.
So the ending of Infinity Wars wasn't the ending that they wanted originally.
Originally, the
Explain to people that
ending.
might not have know
Right.
what you're talking
So
about.
originally, what the ending was going to be when they first wrote it, and they were like, "All right, we're happy with this version of the script." The ending was not the snap.
Hmm.
The snap was going to be, I believe, if I'm correct, I believe the snap was going to be the start of the second film, or there was going to be something after the end. So it almost like, and this is not what was going to be, but almost like the them catching up and killing Thanos
Hmm.
would have been like the end of Infinity War, and then it would have been like the 5 years later would have been the start of Endgame.
Hmm.
But it was like the ending of the film wasn't going to be such a downer,
Mm. And it was a
and
downer.
it
We're going to
was.
get to the. We're going to go through the whole film. This movie, though, as we like to do at the start, this had a budget $325 million.
Mhm.
This film grossed worldwide $2 billion.
Mhm.
It reached one. It was had the biggest opening weekend of all time up until 2018. It grossed 640 million worldwide opening weekend.
Yep.
It reached a billion worldwide in 11 days. Now, I don't think there's going to be Doomsday going to come close to that, I reckon. When that comes out next year, this time next year, we're going to be getting set for Doomsday. It's going to be coming
Yep.
out in the middle-ish
Coming
of
out
December,
19th,
19th
19th.
of December. So we're going to be a couple of weeks away this time of the year. Hopefully, we're going to be sitting here having our guesses what's going to happen in Doomsday. But when
Mhm.
you go back to 2018, to make $1 billion gross
In 11 days.
in 11 days, Neil, when you put that into perspective, no film's come close to that since. It's not even remotely close.
Nope.
I think Doomsday potentially could break that this in 2026 because the hype around that film is going to be. Endgame didn't get near that. And I'm looking
Yeah.
into we're going to get to obviously Endgame in a couple of weeks. Endgame didn't get. Why was this film different from all the films that we've sat down and talked? Why was it different from all the Avengers films that we've done?
Mhm.
You know, we've done the first Avengers, we've done Age of Ultron, we've done Civil War, we've done etc. etc. What made this film different from everything that we've sat down on a Monday and talked about so far? Was it the fact that we knew that Thanos was playing such a major part in this movie?
Mhm.
Was it the unknown of like we know you kind of when Infinity War come out, you kind of knew they'd already touted Captain Marvel, I think, to be in the MCU. You didn't know how.
Mhm.
You didn't know. A lot of us thought she might turn up in Infinity Wars.
Mhm.
She didn't. We all were going to get to the end credits in a little bit. We all know that
Yeah.
she got summoned at the end of Infinity Wars. What separated this movie from literally everything that we had seen in the MCU leading up to this? Because to make $1 billion in
Mhm.
11 fucking days worldwide is just what set this movie apart. Because it had all the characters that we'd seen before. It
Mhm.
had everything that we'd seen before, albeit Thanos was the be all and end all. Finally, you were going to see why he wanted the Infinity Stones, what he was going to do with the Infinity Stones. What set Infinity World apart that it is the highest grossing Marvel film of all time?
Uh, it was simple, that opening trailer.
Mm.
Because you said it before, we've seen, we every think about it. That what was Infinity War number 23?
Yep.
Right, okay. So Infinity War's not film number 23. For 22 films, you had seen one character meet another character, two characters meet another character, right? We had you think Avengers was the first time you'd seen five characters on screen together, right?
Hmm.
But Endgame said, or not, sorry, not Endgame, sorry, Infinity War said, how about you see Iron Man interact with the Guardians of the Galaxy? What does that look like?
Mm.
How about the Hulk interacting with Doctor Strange? What does it look like when Iron Man, with all of his complete unseriousness, has a conversation with Doctor Strange, who is nothing but serious?
Mm. Spider-Man meeting Doctor Strange for the first time.
Spider-Man, me and Doctor Strange, and I said that opening trailer, when you just think about it, the opening trailer, you just saw characters mixing and mingling, and then
Hmm.
obviously Thanos talking, and I think for non-comic book fans, and I'd say for non-hardcore MCU fans, I think that opening trailer made you understand this was an event.
Mm.
This was Marvel and Disney and all parties involved saying, listen, in 2012 we gave you the Avengers and you were over the moon. You were like, wow, wow, this is really good. That was the opening act. It's
Mm.
time for the main event. This is going to be the main event. This is WrestleMania. This is Christmas. This is everything put together. This is the World Series. This is the Super Bowl. This is everything. This is the Champions League final and the FA Cup final all together in one thing. This is the World Cup final. You name it, it's that. And everyone's in it. If you've seen them, they're in it.
Mm.
If they've been in a film, they're in it.
Yeah. No,
And
I
I was
mean,
just
and obviously the movie hits you straight away. Loki, dead, dead.
think about it like this, right? That opening, the start of the movie,
And you're like,
what are the three things that start that movie? The opening three bullet points of that movie. Thor's got his ass kicked. Loki's dead. And the Hulk,
got his ass
the
whooped.
strongest. Think about it. Think about it like this, right? We've had two Avengers films prior to this. Loki's the villain of the first Avengers.
Hmm.
And one of the greatest memes ever is Puny God, him getting one-handed slapped around the
Yeah.
room, right? There's that. Then we have Age of Ultron. When Ultron feels like he's getting away, the Hulk gets into the Quinjet and he's like, oh, for God's sake. And we don't see what happens. We just see him fly out of the Quinjet
Hmm.
and crash back to Earth. Everything you've seen is that this creature is just unbeatable. Even in Ragnarok, when I can't remember, is it Surtur, the giant flaming
Ah, yeah, the
thing,
main in the.
right? It's Hulk who goes up like, I'm gonna fucking smack this one. And Thor's like, no, 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 no smash, not this one, right? In Avengers, what happens when he's like, Clint and Natasha, you do this, and he's like, Tony and Thor, you guys do this, and he's like, Hulk, smash,
Mm.
right? You just knew the Hulk was the guy, and the Hulk gets treated like
Oh, Ragdoll.
the only difference, right? The Hulk gets treated the same way Brock Lesnar treats most WWE
Yeah,
wrestlers, right? Comes in, grabs them, throws them around, and leaves.
yeah. It's going to be like how Anthony Joshua is going to treat what's his name in a few
Jake
weeks.
Paul.
Yeah, it's going to be like
Well,
that.
yeah, we hope so. But it was literally,
It will be.
I mean, he beat the living. Think about it. Five minutes into the movie,
And
the
everyone's
Hulk,
been whooped.
the Hulk, the strongest Avenger, and Thor, the second strongest Avenger that we have seen in these movies, have both had their asses kicked. Thor gets beat before the film opens. He's on the floor, messed up. And we get to see Hulk pull it off and get absolutely decimated.
Did they was this the only mistake in this movie? Was that the fact that Hulk got his ass handed to him at the start, but as the movie goes on
Mm-hmm.
and everything we see him in the MCU, was it? And I'm going to use the term unrealistic here while I'm talking about a Marvel movie, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know we
Was
get
it
you.
unrealistic that the Hulk didn't reappear in the end? And obviously, Banner's trying to get him out, and he's going no, and I'm like, this is probably the one time, especially the end fight scene on Wakanda,
Hmm.
where I don't know he's in the Iron Man suit
Yeah.
and fucking. But for me, it's the only thing in the movie where I'm kind of like, I think the Hulk would reappear here.
No.
I think he would. I know he's got his ass handed to him, but the Hulk running kind of quote unquote scared. And no, and you're like, and like Banner's like, dude, we need to talk, and that made me laugh.
Yeah.
I was just like, surely
No.
the Avengers are getting
See anything wrong
decimated,
with it
and their
whatsoever.
main. It's a bit like having like I don't know, like you say WrestleMania and Roman Reigns going, nope, I'm good. I'm gonna sit at the back. I'm not. I'm not coming up.
I genuinely have no problem with that. I tell you why. I got no problem for two reasons.
Okay.
In the original script, the plan was for Hulk to reemerge.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally Hulk was gonna bust out of the Hulkbuster armor to the point that Funko, if you Google this, Funko released a Avengers Infinity War Hulk coming
Coming
out of the
out.
Hulkbuster Funko. They released it, right? And I say honestly, the best decision they made was to change it and have the Hulk not turn up.
Mm.
Because I tell you why, right? I tell you why. The Hulk is essentially a child, right? The Hulk is essentially a child. Obviously, yes, you've got Smart Hulk and Professor Hulk and all of that, right? But the Hulk in itself is essentially a child. If you're the biggest, strongest child ever and you never lost a fight, you know that I am the strongest, I can beat up anyone. And then you finally get smacked up, you're going to be very apprehensive about getting back in there.
Mm.
And also, imagine watching Infinity War and imagine Hulk busts out of the Hulkbuster and you've got that cheer moment. Hulk's back and he runs and he kills the big, the big member of the Black Order, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the snap happens.
I would have done that and have him dissolve. I would have had the Hulk beating the living shit out of people,
Mm.
then having the snap, and I would have him just off he goes.
But that's the thing, is you needed the Hulk for Endgame.
Yeah, I get it now, but
You
obviously
couldn't get rid
now
of
with
him, right?
with
Yeah.
hindsight and Endgame, and we're gonna get to that in a couple
Yeah.
of weeks.
But
But
I say
yeah,
honestly,
I just
not having
thought,
him come back, because the thing is, it's drips and drabs. That movie is like a drip feed, and it's drip feeding you uh dismay.
mm,
The start of the film, the strongest Avengers get beat up. Heimdall gets killed. Loki gets killed. Then we move further and further and further and further along. And we're moving further and further along. And what happens? Then Gamora gets killed.
mm, for this
Then,
Soul Stone.
yeah, for the Soul Stone, right? And all you're seeing is get further and further along. It's drip feeding you failure after failure after failure. Vision getting just folded like laundry,
But
right?
and a great way to show the time stone when Thanos
Yeah.
reverses everything. I thought that was fucking genius. I was like, man, I
And
remember
to
sitting
the
in the cinema watching that, and
Mhm,
I'm thinking to myself, what's going? And I remember, I can't remember who I was with. I was
mhm.
with a friend, and I remember whacking him on the arm and be like, he's going to use a time stone. He's going to use it, and all of a sudden, and I was like, the whole fucking cinema went crazy. It was like
Yep.
incredible. But what they did really well as well in this movie,
Mhm.
Neil, kept Iron Man and Captain America apart.
Yeah, they never saw each other.
Not
They were never in
once
the
are they
same
on
scene.
screen together. Not one. And when rewatching it, you think, "Fuck yeah!" Like when you're in it and you're watching it. Now rewatched it like literally an hour ago.
Yeah.
You think, genius. Iron Man and Captain America. Iron Man gets his phone out to call him. Doesn't happen. Banner ends up calling him
Yep.
later on in the movie with his crappy Nokia fucking flip phone that he's somehow still got. Biggest tech savvy guy in the world. He's got the shittest. But he's a bit like me. He's got the oldest phone in the world.
But
Um,
don't forget, Captain America gave him that phone.
true.
So it makes more sense
Hmm.
because it's a guy who's not really familiar with all of the modern technology giving this old technology to the tech billionaire.
Mm. Was that a good thing that they kept them apart in the movie? Because, like you said, we're going to get to Endgame in a couple of weeks. So we've got Ant Man and Wasp, and then we get Captain Marvel, which I thought was a great movie as well. Then we get to Endgame. So already Feige and everyone's thinking, right, we're going to do this for this reason, this for this. It's the first Avengers movie where you haven't seen them together on screen.
Yeah.
For me, and again, that's a brave step because you want to come. You're coming into an Avengers movie, and especially what they did well. The main fight scenes at the end of a movie where they
Hmm.
usually culminate everything. They're on separate planets. You've got Spider-Man
Yep.
over here with Stark, and you've got Thor landing up with Cap and Bucky and everyone else.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, this is fucking genius. So when that does happen and the snap happens, you've got people dissolving all over the place. And then with hindsight now, looking back, you do realize why Doctor Strange gave away the stone because
Hmm.
there had only been one ending and he'd already seen it.
Yep.
So now, this is a good thing about doing this. With hindsight, you're thinking, these people at fucking Mark, they're thinking of this. Well, this is 2018. They've already thought of this, and we're now just thinking, fuck, this is why. When you watch it back and you
Hmm.
see things like Doctor Strange giving away the Mind Stone
Time.
at the end, and
Yeah,
Thanos
we gives away the time stone.
Time Stone, sorry, and you're thinking when you watch it back now, do you think these guys are fucking geniuses? This is peak. You say it all the time.
I thought.
This is peak Marvel. I
Yeah.
was watching this thinking it's not getting any better than this. And I love I don't mind Ant Man and Wasp. I love Captain Marvel. I enjoyed Endgame for what it was. A lot of people shit on it. I really enjoyed it, but we're going to get to that. Was
I
this the
think.
moment that Marvel, even Marvel themselves, knew
Mhm.
this is it? This
Yeah.
is peak, peak, peak. We've won the Champions League here. We ain't getting no
Yeah.
better than this, in your
Yeah, it
opinion.
absolutely was. This was the ultimate. This was a crescendo of 23 films. This was a crescendo of a genuine lifetime of effort from the likes of Kevin Feige and the people that he had around him. Because it's done in such a way where there are so many little intricate details. To give you even more tiny little intricate details, Thanos kills Captain America
In this movie.
in this movie, in Infinity War. He kills Captain America. He punches him so hard that he kills him.
Ah, yeah, yeah, I'm with you now. Yeah, yeah.
But because he uses the time stone,
Mm-hmm.
that
He
doesn't die,
doesn't buy it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah. Forgot about that.
right? And it's it's tiny little details like that, which you never really think about. You just think, oh, he just punched him in the face and he's out cold.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. No,
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 killed
no.
him.
He punched him with the Power Stone charged from the Infinity Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm. And killed that brother.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, mate, honestly, it was such an incredible movie. Also, another part of this movie, we get to see how Thor's hammer was another genius part of the movie. Thor has to go to the planet to get
Oh,
a
never
new.
clear.
Yeah, he has to go there, and like again, genius on Marvel's part. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, let's show you where the original. He told us this is where the original. This is where it come from. I need to go
Yeah,
back and make a
and
new
get a new
one,
one.
and get a new one. And obviously, then Groot ends up helping him with it. And it's
Hmm.
to me, I thought that was. And you see the power of Thor. Obviously, he's holding it
Yep.
so everything can meet. And I thought, just now we're so grateful now to sit here in 2025 because I thought again genius everything they put in so much in this movie that tied in things from years ago and like movies and movies ago, and you're thinking, fuck yes, this is tied into this. Do you think when they made this movie, we obviously I think they knew up to Endgame then,
Hmm.
did they think obviously we get Ant-Man versus Wasp and then Captain Marvel then Endgame, do you think the powers that be at Marvel then 2018 we're talking,
Yep.
was Endgame the end game per se? Because we mentioned at the start of today's show, in a year's time, we're talking about a new Avengers movie in
Yeah.
Doomsday.
I think I think it was, but not in the way that we kind of think. I think they knew Endgame was the end of it was
The
this
saga.
was the
Mm.
end of it. This is the end of everything we've been working up to so far. And the best way I can describe it is, as a comic book fan, is when you read a comic book run
Mm-hmm.
and then that run finishes, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's like issues 1 through 23, right? And then
See what you done
issue after that, after the culmination and the whole story's finished, we get volume 2, issue 1.
there. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what Marvel had in mind. They were like, we're gonna do Infinity War, we're gonna do Endgame, and then once Endgame's done, it's volume 2, issue 1.
Mm.
Right? Which doesn't discredit anything that's come before, but we're moving in a different direction.
Mm. One of the directions we did move then for this movie, so it's so much happening. We'd be here for about an hour and a half trying to break down the entire movie.
Yeah.
Something that did happen, because obviously as
Mhm.
a movie fan, you're sitting in the theater in 2018
Mhm.
thinking, well, what the fuck's going to happen now? The snap happens, the end credits then happen, and then all of a sudden Nick Fury is gone bye-byes. But the
He just
bit that
manages to make the
the
call.
comic book fan in me and everyone had been waiting for, and because I've said it for ages, I still don't know why Captain Marvel was not called to help out in Infinity Wars. Nick Fury makes the call, and the film ends with the signal
Mhm.
going out to Captain Marvel. Now, again, with
Mhm.
hindsight, because we've got it now, because it's a fucking brilliant thing sitting here in 2025,
Yeah.
it was a genius move. Back then, I was thinking, even then, I remember talking to people after Infinity War going, what the fuck is Captain Marvel? Because we all knew about her back then. We all knew
Yeah.
that Captain
We knew
Marvel
she
was
knew she was
around.
coming,
And I'm
but it wasn't.
thinking,
She wasn't
where,
needed.
but how can you not be needed when
I'll tell
the
you why.
biggest battle is
I'll tell
going?
you
It's like
why.
World War II going on and England going,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell
now
you why.
we're going to sit this one out.
I'll tell you why she wasn't needed. Nick Fury has no idea what's going on in Infinity War,
Which baffles me a bit.
right? Which doesn't, because remember, he's not the director of Shield anymore.
But
Shield doesn't exist
it's the
anymore.
biggest war the Avengers have ever faced
He,
going on.
yes,
And
but
my
remember
man's
this.
just sitting there in his car, just driving
No,
around.
think of it like this, right? He's Nick Fury in that entire film. If you try and imagine what he's doing, all he's doing is playing catch up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he's doing is playing catch up, right? And the reason why you're like, oh shit, all he's doing is playing catch up is because he doesn't have access to all of the technology and information and all the network that he has. He has no access to most of that, right? If his normal access is 100%, he's running on about 5 to 10%, right? So it's just him, Hill, and a couple of other trusted individuals, right? So he's getting his information second, third hand, right? So that's one. Two, if you think about it, all we have is some guys turn up in New York, attack New York, disappear out of New York. That's that. Then we have the events in Scotland, which nobody sees. Then all of this stuff is happening, and what happens after Scotland? There's no real activity on planet Earth. The next thing we see is when everybody turns up and goes to Wakanda.
Hmm.
So it's just a couple of little light skirmishes in the eyes of Nick Fury, and that there's it's a couple of light skirmishes, right? The biggest takeaway from everything that's happened is they can't find Iron Man. That's it. They don't even know Spider-Man. They just can't find Iron Man.
Hmm.
Right. So yes, Nick Fury not being around, and then if he's not around, there's no reason to call Captain Marvel.
Surely, but yeah, I get it. I'm just thinking the biggest fucking beatdown in the history of the Avengers is going down, and
But
Captain
they don't
Marvel's just
know. They
she's just
don't know it's that
surely
beat
word
down.
must have spread across the galaxy, not to sound too Star
How?
Warsy, because every other fucker in the galaxy knew or whatever knew what was going on. Yet
No, they
Captain
didn't.
Marvel's just there chilling, doing her shopping on a Sunday afternoon.
No, remember, she didn't, right? And that's why in Endgame, when she turns up and people were like, "Where were
Where
you?"
have you been? Yeah.
Right? And she was like, "Listen, when you lot was dealing with Loki, when you lot was dealing with Ultron, I was dealing with that
Hmm.
by myself across the galaxy,
Yeah.
right? Because
With hindsight, it's a great thing because when you watch
yeah,
Captain Marvel, they explained it. But I remember in 2018 thinking, "Fuck is this woman?
yeah, you were like,
No,
ladies and
where is this lazy ass bitch?" Um, yeah, this movie was absolutely. I don't think even now, again, we sit here so many years later. I don't think Marvel have ever reached anything like this, and I think this is what they're going to try and do. I know we're skipping ahead a year now with Doomsday. I think they realised
I think,
maybe.
do you know what? I think I'll be honest.
I think they knew they fucked up.
Huh?
I think they knew they fucked up.
No. The thing is,
I
do you
don't
know
know,
what?
man. I don't know, dude.
Here's how I put it to you. Here's how I put it to you, right? The greatest thing about Marvel, about the MCU, is also the worst thing about the MCU, is you have one man running the show.
Hmm.
And the reason I say it's the best is because you have a complete vision that runs. You think, regardless of whether you like certain films or you dislike certain films,
Hmm.
from Iron Man 1 to Avengers Endgame, that is the vision of one man. And one man has guided and steered that entire ship. And the result of that is the greatest run in movie history.
Yeah, I
And the
agree.
culmination of arguably the best, easily got to be top three best superhero movies ever made,
Oh,
right?
it's probably number one.
It's probably number one. I would understand if people, because obviously things can be subjective. So
Superman 2025.
I'll understand if somebody thinks that that first Christopher Reeve Superman is the best ever, or some people might say like incorrectly, or something like The Dark Knight. But I'm saying,
Yeah,
you think about it.
Back to the Future class as a super,
No,
not
it's
a
not.
superhero, I suppose. No, yeah.
I mean, we have to say that Back to the Future is, well, Back to the Future Part Two is
Arguably better than Part
the
One.
genesis of a lot of things that happen in Endgame.
Hmm.
Because the whole going back in time to events that you've already seen happen,
Hmm.
that is straight Back to the Future too,
Yeah. No.
right?
Mm.
So things like that, I'm like, yeah, no, they did what was necessary with those films. But I just think the I wouldn't say, well, yes, to a degree you could say Marvel did fuck up, but I don't think it's that. I just think it's you got too big for one man to control, and then the wrong hands were given, or not the wrong hands. I think it got so big that people just demanded more, and Disney demanded more, and you got stretched. Kevin Feige got stretched thin,
Yeah.
and he thought, no, you know what? I'm sure that I can leave these guys in charge, and they will pull out
Something.
gold dust
Hmm.
because we've already got gold dust, so there's no reason for things to go wrong. And however, unfortunately, some things just didn't go according to plan.
Yeah, I
I
think
think,
it's like you say that. I think when you've played in the Champions League for so long, and then the next thing you blink your eyes and you're in the Championship, you're like, oh shit, you know.
well, that's it. I mean, it's like you look at it and you go from being, I'm in the Champions League final, I'm in the Champions League final, I've won the Champions League, I've won the treble. Now what?
Mm.
And then you think about it, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about Manchester United, Man City, Juventus, Real Madrid. It doesn't matter who you're talking about. At the end of the day, it's always once you reach your peak, the only way to go is down.
And I
And
think
it's
that
whether,
speaks to how good Marvel was because
yeah,
and we're not even at this quote unquote lesser movies yet. I think that speaks to how well Marvel had done
yeah,
up until a point because every single time we've sat here on doing these Mondays,
mm,
we haven't really sat here. And even when I rewatched Ragnarok and, when I done the review and I was
yeah,
like, do you know what? It's not maybe as bad as I first thought it was. But
mm,
because I remember sitting in the cinema, I'd been given everything. I'd been given A plus movie, 10 out of 10 movie, 10 out of 10 movie. And then Marvel go, oh, hang on a minute, we want to try a bit of comedy, but we're going to
mhm,
chuck in Ragnarok, but we need to get Hulk in a movie, so we're going to do this. And it wasn't my bag, but when looking at it again with hindsight,
yeah,
wasn't as bad as first thought.
yeah.
And then when you get to something like Infinity Wars, you're just like, wow, this is it. It ain't. What did you think in
Mhm.
2018 when the movie finished? You're like, well, when the
I'll tell you
before
exactly
the
what
end
happened.
credits, because I remember
I'll tell
thinking,
you exactly what I thought.
I was like, what the fuck is like? Where are we going with this?
The first time I watched this movie, and I'm a lifelong comic book fan. I've been reading comic book fans since I was in single numbers. I learned to actually read, to read books. I learned to read via comic books, right? It wasn't, they shoved as many books as they could in front of me at school, at,
Mm-hmm.
primary school. And, no, I learned to read from comic books.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you this, and I am someone who has read in the original Infinity War or the Infinity Gauntlet, as it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
I left that cinema screen. It was South Ruislip, right? South Ruislip Cineworld. I left South Ruislip Cineworld screen. I walked into the parking lot and I stood there with my friend, and we stood there long enough for the film, the showing of Infinity War that started after our showing finished and people came out.
Wow, you were there a long time.
We were just standing there in silence, stunned.
Wow.
And I've read the comic books, and
Yeah.
I'm like sitting there as my filmmaking brain, my comic book brain, my fan brain, all three of them were just like stunned
Yeah.
because I was like,
Thinking like, what now?
how do you end a film there? And then on top of that, when you really think it through, and again, this goes to the genius level of these movies. The five Avengers who line up to fight Loki and the Chitauri are the five Avengers who survive.
Mm.
Yep, you got people like,
No Hawkeye.
well, Hawkeye survives.
Yeah.
He's
But
not
he's
in the
not in the
film,
movie.
and also
Why wasn't he in the movie?
because he was under house arrest,
I couldn't remember. I was
right?
trying, do you know what I was thinking? I didn't
Because I
want to
think,
Google it while I was watching. I was thinking, where the fuck's
yeah,
Hawkeye
because
then? Yeah.
he's on house
Yeah.
arrest after the events of Civil War.
But then
But
surely he
also,
busts out and
I
helps.
think what people need to remember as well is this, because I think this is what people forget when they're like, why wasn't this person in there? Why wasn't this person in there?
It's only
The
him.
events of Infinity War, that movie is like 2 days long.
Because it carries on at the end of obviously, Thor's
Yeah,
planet getting
you're
blown to
right. Yeah,
bits.
because the end, if you think from the end of Thor Ragnarok
Mm-hmm.
it's probably,
Because that's where you see Thanos' ship.
yeah, it's probably 2 days.
Yeah.
Because if you say literally the end of Thor Ragnarok, immediately 10 minutes later is the start of Endgame, right?
Mm.
If
Infinity
Infinity
War.
War, sorry. If we say, okay, that's where that happens. Thanos and his crony, the Hulk arriving, and then Thanos and his cronies arriving on Earth, or the Black Order arriving on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
If we say that happens on a Monday at 9 a.m., because remember, you know, Peter Parker's on a school trip. So let's say it's 10 o'clock in the morning, right? All of that happens, and then from 10 o'clock in the morning, New York, then we get to that evening in Scotland, where we find
Vision.
Wonder and Vision,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if we say that's one day, the second day is everything that happens up until them arriving in Wakanda.
Mm.
So this film is basically, this film's about 36 hours. There's
Okay.
basically 36 hours
Post
that go
Ragnarok. Yeah.
from Ragnarok to
Mm-hmm.
the snap. There's about 36 hours, right?
Yeah.
So when you've got certain people not arriving, not turning up, not being present, it's because how many times can something happen and then a day later you find out?
Yeah, this shit's going. How do you think Wakanda feels? Because if you think to the end credit scene at Black Panther, they're like, "We're going to open our borders now to the world," and then 2 days later, fucking that cracked me up in Infinity War when what's her name?
When yeah,
She's like, "I was hoping for a Starbucks."
yeah, Okoye, when Okoye is like,
She just wanted a
I thought,
Starbucks. It's not what
no,
she
she
had
was
in
like,
mind.
when she said, she was like, I thought, when you said you're opening up the borders, I thought you maybe the Olympics,
Yeah, or a
maybe
Starbucks.
or a Starbucks.
Yeah, but in the timeline,
Mm.
that's literally the day, a couple of days before. 'Cause the end credit scene of Black Panther is when they're talking about opening up the
The
borders and
borders.
opening up Wakanda to the world.
And the thing is, they haven't even done it yet. They were just
Nah,
they just said this is what we're planning to
yeah.
do,
And then
and
48
then
hours
the
later,
yeah.
it's
But
the
that's what
biggest
I'm
release.
saying is like when you think about the timeline of all these events, some of these events are happening at such speed that yes, we don't have certain people turning up. You don't have Clint Barton. You don't have Captain Marvel. You don't have and think these events is happening so fast that the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, like the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp probably take place, if we're saying that if we're saying Infinity War is a Tuesday morning,
Mm-hmm. Ant-Man and
then
Wasp is
the
Thursday
end of
afternoon.
Ant-Man and Wasp is like the Sunday.
Yeah.
And then they decide, okay, we're gonna do this thing and we're gonna get these particles.
And then
And then
Captain
they
Marvel
they're
turns
getting
up.
the particles on the Wednesday. This is Wednesday afternoon in
Captain
America.
Marvel's rocking up Thursday morning.
Yeah, they get Wednesday afternoon, they're sorting this out, unbeknownst to them that, half a world away, Thanos has just landed in Wakanda,
Mm-hmm.
just got himself the stones and just
And obliterated everyone. Yeah. Absolute
yeah.
genius. Mate,
And it's
honestly,
funny because
peak Marvel.
we mentioned about Hawkeye not being there, right?
Surely he could have busted out house arrest.
Well, if he knew, he's on a farm. He's on a farm. He's no longer a shield agent. He doesn't have, I think we keep forgetting, shield no longer exists when Endgame's there, right?
Someone could have
So,
put in it. If the
so
world's ending, I'd like to think someone's putting in a phone call.
But the world's not ending. It's just a little
Kind
skirmish.
of.
And
Well,
we've seen 23, by this moment, we've seen 22 films where a light skirmish is happening, right?
and he
Think
hasn't been there, I suppose, yeah.
Avengers, the first Avengers film takes place after Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've had all these films take place, right? So you think of it like this. In Iron Man 3, Tony doesn't call any Avengers. He just handles it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
Winter Soldier, Cap doesn't call for any Avengers. He pretty much handles it on his own. The only people who are there, who are present, also work for Shield,
Black Widow
right?
and
You're Black Widow. The only other person who's present who doesn't work for Shield is Falcon, and the only reason he gets jumped in essentially is because he is running buddies with Captain America. They become friends,
mm-hmm.
right? And when Cap's like, okay, all the people I work with are trying to hunt me down. I've got one friend I can go to,
Mm.
right? So you've got that, and then you think, Thor. Well, Thor's slightly different. Well, in fact, Thor's not slightly different, right? Because you've got Thor in the Dark World. He doesn't call on any Avengers. He tries to handle the whole thing on his own, right? And you think so? You've got these situations where these heroes are like, I don't need to call all my friends. I can handle this on my own. And the proof is in these films. The proof is in the pudding. They don't have to call each other because it's like Iron Man 3. He doesn't have to call an Avenger. He just handles it himself.
True.
Captain America, he doesn't have to call the Avengers. He handles it himself. Thor, when he's in London and the craziness with the whole getting on the train, which is not how people get on the trains in
Let's
London.
not get into that again.
Right? We will get into that. But, it's things like that. He doesn't have to call the Avengers. He just handles it by himself.
Yeah.
So you think aliens arrive on planet Earth in New York and they fight Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man.
Mm.
Then they disappear. There's no reason to call everyone. And then the events where Widow and not Widow, sorry, when Scarlet Witch
Scarlet
and
Witch.
Vision get attacked, there's no reason to call anybody because nobody really sees it happen. It happens in the dead of night. Everything's
Mhm.
closed.
But the ironic thing about all of this is Doctor
Mhm.
Strange knew all this was going to happen.
He didn't. Because
But
remember,
remember
everything
when
we're saying,
when he
everything we're
went
saying,
forward, but in Infinity Wars, when he went forward and he things there's
yeah,
only
but
one
when
ending
does
it.
that happen? That happens towards the end of the film. And it happens at a point where no one can go and contact anyone else.
Mm.
I mean, I say that, but there is one issue that I do find is Doctor Strange, and this is one glitch era issue that I have with Infinity War, Endgame, all of that.
Hmm.
Why doesn't Doctor Strange just sling ring
Everyone.
everyone away
Yeah.
or everyone back in? Right. And the simplest reason why I asked that question is because in Endgame, once the snap has been reversed and everyone's back, he sling rings everybody in.
Yeah, so in Infinity War. But then couldn't Thanos just use the time stone in Infinity War and be like, nah, fuck
He
this.
didn't have the time stone.
I didn't have it then, did he? Yeah, and he got it at the end, didn't
Yeah, right. So, because in my mind, because he uses it. He opens portals when Spider-Man's like,
he? Mm-hmm.
kick, another kick,
Yeah.
with a spin, right? When he's doing all of that,
Mm. So
it's
technically, yeah, he could have opened portals and gone, see
he
you,
could have
everyone.
he could
Let's
have opened the portal
let's regroup.
and he could have opened a portal, dropped Thanos in, and closed it, right? Taken the hand off Thanos and done. But in the heat of battle, do you always think of these things? But what I'm saying is, other than that, nobody knew what was happening with anybody else. Iron Man has no idea what's happening with Vision and Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America has no idea what's happening with Iron Man and Spider-Man. Everyone on Earth has never met the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I can say to a degree, like, you know what? Okay, it makes sense why they're so fragmented and no one can really contact anyone else, why people aren't in it. But one thing I was going to say about Hawkeye was that was the original post-credit scene.
Hawkeye,
It wasn't going to be
Captain
the
Marvel.
the emergence of Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye's family disappearing.
Mm-hmm. I remember reading that, yeah.
And it's funny because I think about it and I think
Would have been good. Then you
I'm
could have had Captain
I'm
Marvel as
torn directly down the
you
middle.
could have had Captain Marvel as a kind of surprise then.
Yeah,
I know we not would have known the movie was coming, but you could have the end credit scene to Ant-Man and Wasp could have been something with Captain Marvel.
yeah. But I
And
think,
then you would have been like,
but
fuck,
it's weird because I think that would have been too much if the Hawkeye,
family had
if
just
Hawkeye's family thing was the ending.
mm,
And also, I think where I find it better that that wasn't the ending is because the ending of Endgame of Infinity War is so gut wrenching. It's so dramatic.
mm-hmm.
starting with Clint's family disappearing
Mm-hmm.
reinforces how horrible that snap was.
Yeah. No, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, honestly, this was for me. I don't think you're going to get even up until well, snaps now. Again, we're sitting here years later. I don't think we've had a Endgame was. I'm looking forward to reviewing it in a couple of weeks. I am
Yep.
looking forward to the end game of our
Mhm.
marvelous Mondays, and we need to make a decision whether we're carrying on or not. Briefly,
Yep.
what did you, and we're gonna obviously next week we're gonna sit down and do Ant-Man and Wasp and Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Did they get the little? And we're going to talk. Again, we're getting to more in depth next week when Sash is hopefully out of his bed. Um,
Yep.
did they get it right with the in between bits between Infinity War and Endgame? Because you have Ant Man and Wasp and you have Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, I get you had to. It was like Black Panther. You couldn't
Yeah.
have. You couldn't have just dropped Black Panther into Infinity War and everyone be like, "What
Who's
the
that?
fuck?" Yeah, because
Yeah.
like you give us a
I
little
think
sprinkling in Civil War, but then you had
yeah.
to do a Black Panther movie. Does
I
did we
think
need to do Ant Man and Wasp? A lot of people you read online, they're like, "Did we really need this movie like after Infinity
I
War?"
think yes we did. I
Yeah,
think we needed
I
them
think
because you know what it is? Those two movies set up two integral parts of
Endgame.
Endgame.
Hmm.
The whole quantum time works differently, all of that
Hmm.
wouldn't make sense if we didn't see Ant-Man get stuck in the quantum realm
Hmm.
because everyone else got snapped away.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't make sense. So that was necessary. And Captain Marvel, her movie was necessary because you can't just have her turn up
And
and
everyone be like, "Oh, at last."
yeah, you needed that to
You need a
happen. So you
backstory.
needed, regardless of whether people enjoy those movies or not, they were necessary. They're integral to the overall storyline.
Biggest thing I took from the Captain Marvel movie was we learned how Nick Fury lost his eye. You know, just I've skipped
Which
ahead. I've
which I
skipped ahead.
find which I find disgraceful.
Yeah, we're
I,
gonna
I
get to that
still
in a
find
couple of
that
weeks.
disgraceful.
We're gonna get to that in a couple of weeks. But Neil, I'm so glad we've made it up until Infinity Wars. Dude, we've been doing this a long time now. Marvelous Mondays.
Yeah.
We need to. I know Sash said, should we carry? Let people let us know in comments and Twitter. Do we get to
Well, you know
Endgame
what?
and
Here's what I would say we could
do
do,
we
right?
keep?
And I'm just bringing this up now, right?
Okay.
So we've run the gauntlet. We're almost at the end of the gauntlet of the MCU Infinity Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, we've got four films left.
Yeah.
We've got Ant-Man and Wasp, Captain Marvel, Endgame, and Spider-Man No Far From Home. Because Far From Home is the end of the Infinity Saga,
Yeah, and then
right?
the Falcon and the Winter Soldier start a whole new.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right. So essentially, we've got four films left if we don't continue with Marvelous Mondays and continue on with every film that's come out so far,
Hmm.
right? Which, in to a degree, is probably a good idea because
I don't want to review Shang-Chi. Oh my god.
you know we've got certain films that come out which do not haven't
Ant-Man,
aged well, haven't gone well, you
Chronic
know.
Mania. Oh god.
Yeah, but at the same time, we do have certain films like you've got Spider-Man No Way Home,
Oh, great film.
and having a conversation about that and the intricacies of that movie, right,
Hmm.
would be a thing. But I think one thing to take into account would be there are other franchises that we could do a thought, you know, a what do they call it? When you review something from the past, a retrospective,
Yeah, I look back.
right? I mean, there's the debacle that was the DCU,
Oh, god.
right? Also, we could change. Marvelous Monday could be every Marvel film prior to the MCU,
Oh,
or every Marvel film that's not MCU,
okay.
running all the way back to like I don't know
Shit.
Meteor Man or something, which is a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
You know, you think you've got Blade,
Oh,
and we've got the Blade trilogy. You've got the X-Men films. You've got the Fantastic Four films. You've got Daredevil and Elektra, Punisher, the two Punisher movies. There's so many Marvel films that weren't MCU.
yeah. That's what a lot of people seem to forget.
Yeah, so we could do that.
Okay.
There are tons of
Let
things we
us,
can do.
people, let us know in the comments. Tweet us at Completed It Pod. Let us know what you want us to do. But I like that.
Yes.
I like it. I like it. Neil, it's been great doing another marvelous Monday.
Indeed.
Sasha's got to do some sort of forfeit, surely. He fucked off to Australia for what, 3.5 weeks, and then today he can't get out of bed. Well, I mean, what's this dude needs to do some sort of forfeit? I think we need to come up with something for this guy. You know what I mean? Full disclosure,
But it
we're
would have to
recording
be a
this on a
forfeit that we
Sunday.
know that he has to do.
Yeah, we've got
Because
a really.
it can't be something like, you know, you have to do this, and then he could just say, "Oh yeah, I did it."
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'll invite him round and put Superman 2025 on Blu-ray and make him watch it with no alcohol. Neil, it's been great, my man. We are back later in the week. We've got some interviews coming up later this week. And then next week, we are back with Ant-Man and Wasp, and then leading up to Captain Marvel and then Avengers Endgame. We are nearly there for Marvelous Mondays. Anyone
Yep.
that wants to check us out, jump onto YouTube, type in Completed It Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at
Yep.
Completed It Pod is where you can find us. Also on Instagram, just type in Completed It Podcast. We're on there every day. I'm just doing a few bits. I'm trying to get it out there. It's hard. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube.
Yep. They are hard.
Not easy keeping up with this, but I'm trying my best. But Neil, thanks so much, my man. Always good to see you. Always good to
Was a
talk
pleasure.
Marvel. Like I said, anyone wants to check us out, you know where you can find us. But we'll be back next week, hopefully with a full quota of our team. Like I say, we've got a really cool interview dropping Wednesday. Not going to say anything because I'll say it and then the person won't make it. Wednesday, we'll have an interview dropping and then we'll be back next week with Marvelous Mondays. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Till next time, stay safe.